Hey folks, Kozzi here, drafting for Pick 1, Pack 1 with a relatively sweet Feln Infiltrate deck. We are getting our screams on, and not quite in the famous artwork style. We're hoping that it's going to be a little bit more enjoyable for us up against double juice today. We have power, we have spells, we have one of our better creatures. I am quite happy with this hand because I know at the very least I'm not going to get overrun. The 3 health on this guy is great for when you're on the play and is slowing the game down. So they're playing a relatively slow primal deck too by the looks of it. Although they're definitely not ultra power flooded, otherwise they wouldn't be playing that out straight away. Okay, Elysian it is. We'll take the opportunity to stare at each other. We're currently, because he's on the play, he's on the beatdown, even though I feel that our deck's going to be more aggressive than his. And that's the reason why I didn't play my Vulture there, because I don't want to be trading 2 damage for 1 when I can reasonably just sit back. Okay. I'd like to see my double primal sometime soon. We could attack in here. They're guaranteed to block. And if they swing back, then we're open for getting some value out of the flash freeze next turn. I could flash freeze here just to get in, but I think that that's a bit too greedy. We'll represent a combat trick. Best case scenario, they don't do anything. Otherwise, it's only 2 damage here. And we'll take to the skies to make sure that we have a blocker against this Elysian deck, or we can start to get some damage in this way. Okay, so whilst they are in trouble with power, if we attack, they could have a lightning strike. I don't want to lose that to a lightning strike, so we'll just get in. Okay. And we'll just keep developing our board whilst they're power screwed. That's a pretty fair decision. So the twinning, whatever they chose to twin, wasn't that powerful. I have a choice here. I can play my Stranger and just choose to freeze this guy. It allows me to get everyone in. It gets me 3 extra points of damage. And whilst he's screwed, I just want to capitalize on this as much as possible. Or I can save it to try and get the dragon in, but the dragon has overwhelm anyway. So I think what I want to do is just really get as aggressive as possible. Oh, I have to choose 2 enemy units. Okay. This allows me to get my quick draw and deadly on, which makes him a much more problematic attacker once the freeze wears off here. And yeah, that's guaranteed to be what they drew that turn. They would have cast that a lot earlier otherwise. And now we have them on a very considerable clock. And we actually have a form of protection for my Sapphire Dragon, because if they do kill it next turn... actually it doesn't cost 4 or less. Disregard that comment entirely. There's a very reasonable safeguard there. What it does mean though is we're representing 7 in the air. Okay, so you put a card on top, so you must have drawn 2 power out of your last 3 cards. We'll get in with the creatures that are a problem for you. I think they don't quite know how this interaction works because it's got quick draw. All it has to do is 1 damage to each, which is a little bit of a shame there, although I think that we were pretty comfortably up so far. So, we managed to get in with our Feln Infiltrate for our first win, which is always a nice start. I forgot to quickly update these, so we'll just swap them over in case we happen to do well. Yeah, and that deck did pretty much what it needed to do. It held up the ground. Unfortunately, they were screwed, so we didn't get to see a proper matchup. It wouldn't surprise me if they used the twinning on that Avasaur. Although, that being said, they would have played the 4-4 to try and hold up the air. Perhaps they were worried about me having removal. I don't know, hey. This is an excellent hand, especially on the play. I love the look of this hand. Even if he gets an X1, and what I mean by that is having a strength of anything and a health of 1, then we can send this guy to the air and use our snowball. Excellent, excellent, excellent hand. And having this on the play just makes it all the better. And speaking of X1s that we're happy to see. So we have a choice. Do we want to play the Swiftblade first or the Snowslinger? I think this really depends on whether they have an ornate katana or not, and if they do, we'll probably let it go through anyway. I'd like to be able to represent a slightly stronger block. Yeah, and a more problematic attack for them. Okay, this is interesting. So if we attack in, they're just going to double block. I don't want to trade this for their 2, even though it's a 2-for-2 trade. So instead, I think I will levitate it, get my attack in, see my extra card, play my Snowslinger. That represents a problem. Then next turn we can just go to the skies like crazy. And now, unless they triple block with creatures that have 3 power or greater, he's going to be getting in every single turn. Which represents quite the problem for them. Unless they draw a torch. The good news for us is these colors aren't notorious for being strong in the sky. He chose not to attack there, so they obviously think they're pretty solidly on the back foot. I'm happy to affirm that. And so I've got a choice between playing another Serpent Trainer or drawing some cards and finding the Blood Beetle. Playing the Blood Beetle, rather. I think I actually want to draw cards here because I want to get up to my Sapphire Dragon as fast as possible and really just close this game out. If I'm going to be doing that, I should just draw my cards now, see if there's anything that makes me change my mind. And it also gets me my power drop for this turn and makes sure that I can cast my dragon next, which is fantastic news for me. These guys can now represent a double block on the Frostkin, which makes it more difficult for him to have a viable attack, especially as I could just kill out the tokens taking 5 and I'm still winning the race. So we're making life exceptionally hard for Jacobel right now. I think I am happy to get my value like this. It's likely, well, let's have a think. How likely do they have a red combat trick? I don't think I saw a block, but I've got enough life to double check. And I really just don't want to lose these guys. They can attack him pretty profitably now. Okay, so they do have a trick. There was a stop there, which means that I can't safely double block. That's... I joked about this in the Draft 101 about how much I dislike this card, and it's going to come back to bite me, but that's okay. We're going to be flying over it with a huge dragon, and that also makes me think that I wouldn't mind trying to draw out this combat trick now. So it's not used against me on defense. Okay, that burnout does hurt. The currently exchanging 2 damage for 3. These guys are effectively dead cards anyway. So alright, show me what you've got. Perhaps what you had was that burnout. That's a fantastic trade for us. Fantastic. It is a little bit of shame missing out on this opportunity to get a snowball, because I would have liked the opportunity to burst this Aegis. But yeah, exchanging my 2-drop for his 4-drop is fantastic. Actually, Jacobel, might be her. What kind of general neutral pronoun can you use so I don't fall into this mistake? We're flooding out pretty hard now, which is a little bit of a shame. We'll keep getting our 2 damage in. And we'll keep developing our board regardless. I could get hurt if they have a lightning storm. How have they played out the power? Okay, so that's actually plausible. I perhaps should have been a bit more careful. Yeah. Okay, I can definitely understand that, getting rid of what is effectively my biggest threat. What I'm going to do... it's got Aegis. I guess we pop the Aegis though and represent an attacker that's a problem for them to deal with. And I'm not interested in playing out this Sigil. The most expensive thing in my deck is 6. So the only time that I'll get in trouble with this decision is if I draw a Wisdom of the Elders. So, if I wait... If I attack, we have the opportunity to trade off here, which I think is probably likely. They're not going to double block here. They're unlikely to double block there. And then next turn we can stun units. If they let it go through, then I'm fine with that because I'm winning this race. I'm on a 5-turn clock. They're doing 4 damage. So they're on a 6-turn clock. Yeah, what I'm thinking about is how to get the most value out of my flash freeze here. And so if we can trade off resources, it means next turn I can flash freeze these 2 guys, assuming that they don't draw anything amazing. Or I can flash freeze this and whatever amazing thing they do draw. And that will allow me then to get in with these trainers. Rather than doing it this turn and only getting half my value, I'm being a little bit greedy and waiting. That could come back to bite me. But I don't think it will now, because what this means is I can freeze these 2 and I'll be making 2 extra 2/2s. Do I want to cast it right now? Yeah, I think I do, because it frees up my power as much as possible for the following turn. Okay, it didn't register my click then. Still getting, unfortunately flooded here. I'd like to be doing a lot more than just playing power. The good news is if they don't draw a flyer, we can get in for 8. And then if they only have 2 flyers, we can attack for another 4. They have a trick of some description. It's probably a torch. That's nice. And it's worth remembering, this Puma was actually originally an amethyst monument. So it wasn't a creature, it was either a land or a monument. And so, because we flooded out rather than drawing another piece of power, which would have just been horrendous. Like, we've already been anemic enough. It has to attack in, mate. rather than just drawing another piece of power, which has already been bad enough. Like, we've drawn 10 out of 17, so it means that we have, what, 7 out of 25 left, so it's a 25% chance of us falling into that trap. Ooh, that is a nice card, especially on a Sapphire Dragon. So if we attack with everyone, they'll block 2, I'll lose 1. They'll take 2 going to 3, and they'll probably have to block here. I can then Dark Return my 4 power. If I just attack here, they'll probably trade off. Actually, no, they'll be happy for that attack in and take 1 more of my flyers. So they might double block here, or double block, no. Probably double block there. They got 1, 2, 3, 4 creatures, so if I attack with everyone, I get my overlap of 1. Block there. I'll get in 2. Yeah, I'm happy to chump attack with a guy for the sake of clearing up a board state, especially knowing that once I see what happens, then I can work out which creature is best for me. And I think in this scenario, what I want most is probably just a... I missed a trick here. If I would have gotten back my guy who could freeze a unit, that would have been better for me. So let's think through. If I would have frozen this 2-3 and then attacked in, I would have gotten an extra 2 points of damage, putting him on 1, and slightly better trades. But had a weaker creature had he been able to stabilize, or she rather. Okay, we're not at 3 wins, I'm just getting my super ready just in case. But we're playing sweet, and this deck is running beautifully. Really, really nice. It feels as though the curve is just about right. I've had a few turns where I've been able to go 2-drop, 3-drop, then a pair of 2s. This hand, not quite as sweet. Even the flash freeze was useful in that scenario. And this hand is okay, but I'd really like to see my additional Primal Sigil. They're going to get their bit of aggression on, and we'll definitely be playing the Snowslinger next turn rather than the Vulture, because I'd like to be able to block. If I'm lucky and they play only a ground defender, next turn we can block here, trade. They'll probably attack him with a Scavenging Vulture if they're as aggressive as what they're looking to be. Oh, this is magnificent. Okay, so what's going to... okay, sure. What I was hoping is they were going to attack so we could trade, and then I could Haunting Scream, attack in with haste, get my snowball. They're going to have to trade here anyway, because if they don't, I get my snowball, which can rip them apart. Or I could flash freeze them, attack, get my 2 in, have my snowball, and then next turn I can play my pair of 2-drops. It's very aggressive, but I suspect that he'll be putting... Actually, I also don't know if I'll be getting the snowball in time to deal with this if he puts another piece of equipment on it. So I'd rather keep the flash freeze to slow them down in case things go bad for me. If they play another piece of equipment that doesn't increase their health, then we still have the Haunting Scream option available to us as well. Okay, so if they're doing that, it could mean that they have the Quick Draw equipment, or Quick Draw spell rather, or they could have the Rampage. I would rather get the Rampage out of their hand right now. If we're lucky, they'll play the 4 though, so I think we can afford to take it. They're not going to attack in on that kind of trade. So this turn I could play Haunting Scream, attack, use my snowball, see what he's got. He might have a torch. We'll be taking 7, which is scary, and then flash freezing, or I could just flash freeze now. Uses my power better, so that next turn I can use a 3 as well as my 2. Yeah, okay. I think we just need to slow them down. This also gives me a chance to check. So it didn't look as though they had a stop there for a combat trick. Although that could have also been because these were exhausted and they didn't have the opportunity to actually target it. And this is fantastic for us now. We can play the Haunting Scream as well as the Amethyst Acolyte. So that even if they have the Rampage to save it, we can still kill it. We're happy to trade this off because we just need to slow them down. Do I want a 2-for-1 here? He is more of a problem for me, although if I thought that he had the quick draw, I'd rather bait it out with these guys. Although I also want to be able to block with my Sapphire Dragon, so perhaps we do want to get it out, but I don't want to lose 2 creatures for it. He's getting amazing value off me, but we just need to work on the assumption that I'll have a chance to develop. The problem with this is if he wasn't to attack, I then know that I'm fairly safe. But because he is attacking, actually because he's attacking with everyone, I think he definitely has it. So he'd be attacking for 5, 6, 7, plus 4 is 11. I feel as though if he does have it though, I'm dead anyway. It might be that he has a temper. I think we want to desperately look for extra creatures that we can make a problem of ourselves with. So, if we attack, he can attack for 5, 7, 8. So I can't attack. We're on defense here. Do I want to kill one of his creatures now whilst I can? I think I do. That will then still enable me a block here, a block here. I take 2. With the opportunity to have better creatures on the swing back. So do I want to kill his Dark Wisp or his Grenadin? He's going to be drawing a card anyway, but this allows him to see his cards sooner. So I think we just take out the last of these Grenadins. So this is now going to represent a 7-2 who I'm certainly blocking. I think we just need to look for more action now. Yeah. We just need to dig and see what we can find. And that is definitely something that is decent to find. We sit back, he attacks in, we block here. If he doesn't have Overwhelm, we're still alive. And then he's just got card advantage on us. Because we flooded out as much as we have, and a piece of equipment. Still not in a great spot, but we're alive. We've worked through a pretty scary board state. This can then become a 4-4 with the piece of equipment, which is enough to kill my dragon. I could play the Acolyte and turn into a 3/3. I could play the Snowslinger. Charge in. That would then allow me to have a pair of 2/2s to block with, plus a snowball. I think we just accept the fact that we need to trade with the Sapphire Dragon. Oh no, it's a 7/5 because he gets +1. Okay. Oh, almost made a huge mistake then. I forgot about the fact that he gets +1/+1. So Mr. Dragon, you are on stabilization duty for me. Okay, so that's turning into a 6, but we're getting a lot of value out of this, so I'm okay with that. And we'll just hope that you don't have a smuggler's stash. You're still going to have a wider board than us, which is a bit of a problem, but we flooded and you haven't. Okay, so if I play the Serpent Train, I'll have a block here. I can play the Dark Return. Would I rather just get this, or I could still do my Snowslinger, get a 3/3 flying charge in. I could fly and charge, and it gives me... No, I think we just get the fat guy. They've shown that they don't have removal. It creates a threat for us. If they can attack wider than us and they have a combat trick, then so be it. But if we can stop them for one turn, then we have the Serpent Trainer. It blocks that, which is fantastic. And we can sit back with this blocker. Next turn we can attack him with the Gorgon Fanatic. Okay, next turn we don't get the choice of attacking him with the Gorgon Fanatic. Next turn we do get the choice of attacking him with the Gorgon Fanatic. Which I do think we do. Otherwise, I could freeze the Horse Snatcher Bat and make myself another 2/2. And it also allows me to attack for 10, which puts him on notice. Although if I attack for 10, I've got the 2/2 and the 3/3, so I can double block here, block here. 1 damage gets in. Yeah, okay, I think I like the look of that a lot better. If he gets a piece of equipment that gives it endurance, then I'm dead. But I can't think of one in those colors. So yeah. Let's just try and make as big a board as possible and make it so that this can represent lethal. Because if I can chump block here whilst attacking in, that's the clock that I can actually turn around. Flying blockers are much more important to me right now. Because that's my plan with this attack. So if I attack... It's a 2-turn clock here, so he's going to have to stay back. And what it allows me to do is to chump block with one of these guys. And then attack for lethal next turn. If I'm going to respect the fact that he could have a trick here. And if they don't have a flying blocker, so they've done that to stay alive a turn. And I think we're right. I think whatever they play, we're going to polymorph. I think we've gotten away with it. Nice, 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 nice. Cool. That was a tough game, and I'm pretty stoked that we got away with it. We needed to cast 3 dragons. 3 or 4? No, 4 dragons. So 2 dragons and 2 Dark Returns. But they had a pair of those +5/+0 guys, which is terrifying. They had the equipment, they had a lot of value, but we were able to just stabilize enough. And I think we would have lost that game if I would have made a mistake and frozen the wrong creature, because we needed to turn around the curve. Like we needed to, turn around on that corner, and make sure that we started putting them under pressure. Like they needed to be on notice that they could die if they didn't play this out correctly, and that's what gave me some breathing space. Anyway, that's sweet. 3-0 start. I'm loving this deck. This is pretty much exactly the kind of Feln aggro deck I like to build. You've noticed that there hasn't been a turn yet where I haven't played a 2-drop and a 3-drop and then had something to do on 4. I've been fortunate, I guess, a little bit with having the right power at the right time, but curving out. I feel as though I'm a little bit of a broken record, but it's definitely part of a secret to Limited. Anyway, folks, I'm going to have to head into the city today, but I'll be back. For you, it's going to be in 3 seconds' time when the auto count ticks down, but for me, it'll be in a little bit of a while. And I really look forward to seeing how this one finishes out. I've been Kozzi, drafting for Pick 1 Pack 1. Thank you, as always, for hanging around, watching the videos, and chatting. We started to get a lot more comments on the YouTube forums or Reddit forums, and that's been awesome, guys. Really encouraging. So thank you so much. But for this video, I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Have a good one.